Hi, I'm your host Cameron, and welcome to Cooking with Cameron. Let's have some fried chicken. But first thing you gotta do is you gotta carve this bad boy. So, what you wanna do is you wanna start with these wingtips. No one likes wingtips, not me. So, you wanna make sure you get that joint, get those things out of here. The other one, just cut that off. Perfect. Flip this bad boy over, and you wanna cut just outside the joint. Dislocate that sucker. And that is a good wing. That's good wings for everyone. Got myself the other wing. So, now you want these legs. Flip it back over. Start with this left leg right here. You want to carve around this skin right here. And then you want to cut down. Once you get to a bone, smack it. If you didn't get all the way through, smack it again. And then that right there, you got yourself a leg and a little bit of thigh. Flip it back around, get the other leg. Same thing. Cut the skin away, find the joint. Once you get to a bone, bam! Dislocate that joint, cut that off, you got your other thigh. Move the chicken to the side, you got your thigh, cut around, get that thigh off. You can also dislocate this joint too so you can find it, make it a little easier. Got yourself a nice thigh, got yourself a drumstick. Do the same thing here, start cutting away, find the joint, crack it, cut around that bone. Got yourself the other thigh, another drumstick. So now the only thing we have left is got the breasts. Wonderful breasts. You want to cut down. Once you cut down far enough, you want to crack it back just slightly. Cut around the skin, cut around the rib cage, as far the way down as you can, and you just want to crack that back. You want to cut all the way down, make sure you get all the bones, and once you get all your way through, you got yourself a nice carcass, you got yourself a nice breast. First thing you want to do is you want to put your blade right here, score it just slightly, separate it a little bit more. With a nice hard hit, you break through that bone. Now that you got through the bone, the rest should be easy. You got yourself two breasts. If you want, I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to actually make the breast slightly smaller. Once you get back down to the bone, hit it, and you got yourself two breast pieces for the price of one. Get this last one last hit, crack through it, finish the cut, and now you got two more breast pieces for the price of one. With this carcass, you just discard this away, or you could use it in a stew. Now that we've got that chicken carved away, you got your bowl of chicken. What you want to do is you want to get some salt, some black pepper, some white pepper if you can find it, dried herbs, paprika, or smoked if you're feeling risky, and cayenne pepper. So you want to start with this salt, pour a little bit in your hands, sprinkle it in. So your first rule of chicken is after you've touched it, it's better to wash your hands. You don't want that salmonella. No, not salmon, it's chicken. Salmonella. Get yourself some more black pepper, a few shakes of that. Get yourself some dried herbs now. Now this dried herbs is a combination of marjoram, basil, rosemary, thyme, oregano, and sage. Get some white pepper. Give yourself a couple shakes of that. Paprika. Now this is your most important. You want a good coating of that. We're going to finish that off with a little bit of spice with some cayenne pepper. You can either use tongs, but because I'm a man, I'm going to use my hands. You want to get that nice and coated on every side of that chicken, every single piece of chicken. Make sure you got that nice seasoning going on, and you're going to get a nice, beautiful looking chicken pile like that. It's the one thing about chicken, the more you play with it, the better it gets. And then finally, what's better than just normal fried chicken? Buttermilk fried chicken. Add some buttermilk to this concoction. I'm gonna let that sit in the fridge for about 4 hours. We'll come back to that later once it's marinate, and I'm gonna add myself some flour and make myself the dry batter. So let's go to that.
It's been 4 hours, so now we got some marinated chicken. Before we do that, we gotta work on our potatoes. So right now, I have a nice assortment of 7 large gold potatoes. However, these aren't peeled, but you can't make mashed potatoes out of unpeeled potatoes. So, let's do this. Well, that might work, but I don't want it taking forever to cook. So, let's get these things cut, shall we? Alright, so now I got cut potatoes, and I got water. What am I going to do with that? Put some salt in that. That'll help it boil. Put that over here, turn on that heat. Next, you want to get like a Dutch oven or a deep pot. You want to get a good amount of frying oil specifically. Frying oil helps when it comes to high heat. Other oils smoke too much and will cause it to burn. This is vegetable and peanut oil. Peanut oil works very well for frying things. I'm going to empty all this oil in here, dump this one in as well. The important thing is I need to get this oil up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm also going to throw that on high heat as well. Get that started. But first, before this is all ready, we got to bread these suckers. Let's go. So here we are in the breading station. Everything's set up. We got to give it a little bit more turn so that all the sides get covered in buttermilk just a little bit more. We need to season this flour before we do anything. So you get a little bit of salt. Put that salt in there, get a little bit of pepper, give that a couple shakes, a little more paprika. We want this to look as good as it tastes. So you don't have to be stingy. Put some garlic powder in there. We'll get some cayenne pepper, toss that in there. Just a little bit, we don't need that much, we don't want it too spicy now. More ground white pepper, and then just a little bit of onion powder. Grab a fork, mix this together. That way we got a nice even mixture of all that seasoning. We're ready to toss those chickens in there. So I get my bowl, grab my first piece. Looks like I grabbed a breast half first. You just want to dredge that in flour. It's alright if you spill a little bit of flour. That's for cleanup later. You want to make sure you get every side completely covered, because you don't want any of that delicious batter to fall off. So I'm going to work on legs. Give it a little lay that back down. We just want to make sure that every piece has an even coating. That way you get a nice crunchy crust. You do not have to do this all at once. It's probably better if you do it in batches, but I think I can get a healthy start with 4 of the 8 pieces that I have. So that's going to taste real wonderful with all that batter on it. And would you look at that? They're nice and covered. Let that sit. I got some hot oil here, and I think it's time to fry some of them. I'm going to start with everyone's favorite piece of chicken, leg. Just drop that in there. Let's get that other leg in there too. Make sure they're not touching. Also, watch it. Oil's hot. You want to leave it alone. Let that sit for like 10 to 15 minutes. You take your fry spoon, check it, make sure it's not stuck together, and then we take that, move it over to our dry station. In the meantime, let's finish off these chicken pieces. I have a strong feeling that this chicken's going to come out amazing. The potatoes have been cooking while the oil has been heating. That's going to come to a nice soft texture pretty soon. And then we can strain the potatoes and get it ready for the mashed potato section. Only got 2 more pieces of chicken, I believe. Oh no, looks like we got more chicken than you know what to do with. So wings are a little tricky. You want to make sure that every nook and cranny is covered in batter, because once it gets in that heat, it's going to try and lose all that batter and all that crust you put on it. If you're patient, your crust will stay on and it'll get nice and crispy once you get into that oil. So an important method for frying is you have to have a thermometer. Make sure your oil does not lose temperature. If you lose it, it takes longer to cook and it gets soggy. We want a nice hard crust, so I'm going to check my oil temperature. I'm actually losing too much heat, so I'm going to crank up that heat and make sure that it stays at 350. In the meantime, I can also check these potatoes. Most of these potatoes are nice and soft. The fork basically sinks into it and let's go. But some of them are still holding on. So another 5 minutes or so and that should be ready. Conveniently enough, in another 5 minutes or so, I'll get to check these chickens to make sure that they're not stuck together. Now this is a good meal for 4 or 5 people, plus some leftovers if you're feeling great. And everyone knows that midnight cold chicken is the best, and mashed potatoes always taste good with chicken. You get your fry spoon. You just feel around. Make sure that when you feel it, you're moving every piece that you get. Make sure that none of them are sticking together. Because if you stick it together, they'll get soggy and they'll take longer to cook. All we have to do is wait. It's the most painful part of cooking, is waiting for that deliciousness to come out. I'm also going to be showing you how to make delicious mashed potatoes every time. These potatoes are nice cooked, so I'm going to grab these really quick, move over to the sink, and strain them. However, we still want this pot, so put that to the side. Turn off your stove. You want to strain the water out of these potatoes. Transfer them back into the pot. Let them cool for a little while. And then once the chicken's almost ready, I'll show you how to make these potatoes. It's been a good amount of time. This chicken is totally ready to take out. So, I'm going to grab that. Let the oil fall off a little bit. And then you want to put it nice on this dry rack. Make sure not to splash oil on yourself. Oh, would you look at that? Now that is some beautiful chicken. So, we're doing pretty good. We got 6 more pieces of chicken to cook. While that's cooking, I'm going to show you how to make these potatoes. So, this is all going to come out pretty well. If you're not certain that your chicken's done, you can always get an electronic thermometer and check to see if it's hit 165. 165 is the safe temperature for chicken. While it's hot, add a little bit of salt to it. That'll help it adhere. And I'm going to grab this dry rack out of the way with gloves on because, you know, just in case. Don't want to burn myself. Almost forgot to get these started. Alright, so now same thing. Let that cook for about 10 minutes. Got these potatoes. Get our masher. Start pushing this in. Now the trick with a good mashed potatoes is in the ingredients that you mash with it. I got a special recipe. We start with 1 egg. Now I know what you're wondering. Egg? You can't eat egg while it's raw. Well, don't worry about that. They're hot potatoes. Hot potatoes cook cold egg. That's what my mom always said. The egg will add nice fluffiness to it. Get yourself some sour cream. Sour cream adds a nice tangy flavor to it. And again, like my mom always said, you can never have too much sour cream until you have too much sour cream. Mash that together. That will make it easier, fluffier. Starts to feel a little bit like you're mashing through wet sand. Now I know what you're saying. Wet sand, that's not a really good thing to think about while eating. But don't worry. It reminds me to add some salt in that thing. You know what? Salt always goes good with some pepper. Last thing my mama taught me when it comes to cooking potatoes, butter. Toss that in there. Get some more butter. Toss that in there. And let the heat of the potatoes start to melt the butter. Just keep mixing it. Make sure the potatoes are covering the butter so that you can get that melted quick and easy. I'm going to use this. Start feeling around. Now, if you are allergic to peanuts, fret not. There are other oils you can use to fry chicken that will work just as well, such as vegetable oil or frying oil. Funny enough, there's a frying oil. These potatoes are looking pretty good so far. In fact, I'm feeling a little daring. Gonna add some more salt and pepper. That is the best way I know how to make mashed potatoes light, fluffy, creamy, and flavorful consistently. Now the good thing about mashed potatoes is you can cook it pretty much with anything. Mashed potatoes are very resilient as a side dish, and if you're cooking nice beef You can use the leftover grease, add some flour to that, add some more flavoring to that. You got yourself gravy. Gravy with mashed potatoes, homemade. Oh, you're asking for a whole nother video. I'm going to take that, put that to the side, and wait a little bit longer for this chicken to be done so we have a perfect dinner. A good thing to know is while you're cooking, if you ever get to the moment where you have any time, that's the best time to clean up. That way you don't have to wait until after dinner to clean it up. Cleaning while cooking, perfect. If your oil's too hot, you'll cook the outside well too fast before you cook the inside. This chicken's just about done. Careful as you move it in the oil, because oil will try to splash up on you. Slow movements, gentle movements as you move it through the oil. That's all you pretty much need to know about cooking chicken. You see that as these have cooled, they've stayed with that nice crispy chicken outer coat. Remember to make sure to drop as much oil back into the pot as possible so that you don't leave it too greasy as you take it out. Get your salt. Salt the chicken. I got 2 more pieces of chicken to cook. 2 large breast pieces. Other frying methods involve flour and eggs. Eggs help the batter stick to the chicken easier. This is buttermilk, so buttermilk acts as its very own adhesive. So this last batch is pretty much ready. Let's move it off heat. Nice dark brown. That's exactly what you want to see. Put that somewhere safe. You don't want it running away from you now. We got our mashed potatoes. We got our fried chicken. We got ourselves a meal. So this meal was specifically made for my uncle, Uncle Dustin. I know you like fried chicken, so I hope you'd enjoy this video. As for everyone else, I also hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you want to see me cook in the future. And once again, and as always, what's an outro?
Huh? Fried chicken. Technical difficulties. Wonderful breasts. Salmonella. Marjoram. Because I'm a man. The more you play with it. So. Oh man. Same my first rodeo. As good as it tastes. Oh no. When you get your mashing ready. It's the most painful part of cooking for that deliciousness to come out. Oh, would you look at that. But in all seriousness, folks. Like my mom always said, stop eating it.
No, woman. And the sizzle cam, the main cam, the side cam, the cam, the cooking with cam, the voiceover cam, Cam's mama's phone cam. It's just cam everywhere.
Yeah, taste it. Oh, you're asking for a whole nother video every time. That's all I pretty much need to know about cooking chicken.